Ohio gozaimasu there, ladies and gentlemen. Even though it's not a morning here, so I'm going to say konbanwa because it is evening here. So konbanwa, everybody. Welcome. So, new Deadman replay. Deadman Ever the Wily Coyote that we have come to know. So what are we going to be doing then to respond to these foul situations? Well, this is it. I'm not going to use intros, God's sakes. Okay, so what I'm going to do then, well, what I've done is I've upgraded the Armada Detachment 2 over here. These are previously A5 and 4s. The reason why I've gone for this one, this is one of the smaller ones being only at 9, but that's actually going to come in quite handy because I can have them actually based aboard the host show. So I'll be operating 2 groups of A6 and 2s off the host show, which is going to be really handy. It's going to give us quite a lot of ability there. That's kind of how we're going to be envisioning the use of host show. I've not quite yet decided where host show is going to be moving. Likely so is, well, this is it really. We'll be taking Oosthaven shortly. The issue is obviously due to the amount of air power here, and obviously the PT boat would make things difficult. Though that could be tackled in the near future. What I'm going to be doing then is having paratroopers there being moved down here to a low star. So what we'll be doing then is shortly we'll be taking bases via air. Paratroopers, I should say. Yeah, we'll just need to identify where these bases are. Just, if we could find some fuel, or even like a safe harbour for a little while, that'd be handy. I'm not really, I mean, I think we're alright, to be honest. I know it's showing you red there, but all I have to do is go like this, and we've still got quite a lot of time left, which is really quite nice. Have to think over that one. Yet to make a proper decision as to where it's going to go. The good news is we've had 2 days of being undetected. We do have some distance. We're in the waters over here. We do have naval search out this way. They're of course running their own naval search. They have a cap, which is very handy as well. So they're alright. They're not doing too bad, really. They can kind of look after themselves for the time being, really. I mean, what we'll have to do then is we'll just have to keep an eye on the situation. If I can take a base over here, that'd be quite good. I'm likely going to be able to take this base over here. It does have a level 2 airfield, which is very nice. And if I could actually base some G4s, if it's even required, really. I mean, this is the thing. Do I really gain that much from basing them here? Well, we do have a second group, in fairness. I could potentially do that. But then I'd probably gain more by basing them here. The thing that we've got to bear in mind is I have coverage out, and let's say this is like the sort of coverage that we have. Something like this, off the coast of Sumatra. We can't really operate in these waters, and that's the lesson that we've learned, really. We could have done things in a very different way, but I suppose this is it. We should not have moved further up to the north without having naval search over here, because it gives us an area where we can actually operate. We actually do have naval search being run for us, giving us information, which is all quite important, as we've since found out. But things aren't too bad. You can see that this is heading over here. I'm not going to be doing that right now, because there's actually still mines at Georgetown. Not the greatest idea. Let's see. Right, Spear Storms doesn't help. You're kind of moving as is, aren't you? Okay. Well, let's move into a low star then for the time being. Yeah, flotation's pretty bad. There's no fires, thankfully, so she can probably make it. Not to there. There we go, head to a low star. Just go there for the time being. I can obviously have it move down towards Singapore in the near future then to be repaired, which should be handy. Gonna auto-disband, should be good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch an attack over here. So I'll be launching an attack with this tanker regiment. I'm going to move this tanker regiment, the 4th tanker regiment, in combat mode. The reason why is I do not want these forces to retreat and end up moving over here, or something of that nature. Though in fairness, that's not a... nah, it's not probably going to be a threat, so I'll move in movement mode. It's major road, so I can actually move south very quickly, so never mind. That one's not too much of a threat there. Just an inconvenience if it happens. I don't think they would move that way. They may, in fact, surrender, perhaps. We'll see. There's still a decent amount of men, so there's 43 assault value. They might be able to manage it. We'll see. We'll see. I was going to order a shock attack, but I'm going to go with a deliberate attack instead. The reason being, well, I don't want to end up taking more losses than really required. Deliberate attack will do this. So it's fine. I mean, it's clear terrain. We'll see. I just want them to surrender. And this is kind of why I'm thinking about the shock. If the shock doesn't wipe them out, then at least they can remain here. Oh, bugger it. We'll go for a shock. So I do these videos when I'm more or less set on a course. And then this is it, really. Sometimes when you go over something again, you think, well, actually, no, that might be being a little bit overcautious. You might not be aggressive enough. So this is one of those situations where we can actually change our mind here. Over here, there's a different story. With that being clear terrain, yeah, shock attack's probably a good way to go, especially with that amount of AV there. It's all good to go. We are going to be attacking here again with 114th. Ideally, I can make that surrender. There's only one base left, and that's Kuala Lumpur. If I can take this base, that would be fantastic news. Then ideally everything would then surrender in time, which is excellent. But yeah, that is the only allied base left in Malaya here at this moment in time, which is very good news. I do still see that there's probably going to be a mass exodus out from Singapore. He's currently running PT boats over here, which is intriguing. But there's still 14 ships here in Singapore, so that's still nice. That's still quite nice. There's a lot that we could still sink here. They're not probably going to be worth that much, but sinking anything is going to be good news. It's going to be very nice for us. Nice little sweetener. We're going to be able to attack over here at Oosthaven, which is going to be good. The Sasebo 8th SLF is moving up to Lahat. We'll be able to capture that. That was the reason why they moved over here, is because this wasn't captured. I had assumed it wouldn't impact on the movement, but due to this actually still being technically a base, it still does, which is kind of annoying, but hey, we'll deal with that. We'll capture that base. These forces moving inland. I'm actually flying over some additional kois over here to actually give us some additional aviation. The Sasebo is moving up the road over here to attack these guys. They're going to have to cross the river. So if I take a look over here, we do have 23. I'm in fact going to put that into combat mode, otherwise they might cross. They could probably still kick its ass, but I'd rather them be in the proper mode, otherwise they'll just take unnecessary losses. We're marching north over here, that's what's going to take a little bit of time, but it's not too long until they arrive at Sinkwang. Still building up Sinkwang. Maybe not the right idea, but then again it doesn't cost us that much, and I think it'd be worthwhile to have it in the back pocket in the future if we need it. So that's that. Right, these heavy cruisers, they're in an interesting spot really. They don't have a huge amount of ammunition left. These guys, Cacao doesn't have a lot of ammunition either really. Yeah, it's a odd spot to be in really. I do need AKs to move down here. So what I'm going to do then is actually take one of these AKs. We can make use of some bases over here, so I don't need a tremendous amount. But what I'm going to do then is take one of them, take 2 patrol boats. In fact, what I could do with doing is actually having an ACM as well. That's going to be quite handy. Allows me to maintain a minefield. I'm going to have that move out to BLeAcHACiD, and then I can actually rearm those heavy cruisers, which would be excellent news. So we'll go with that. Excelente. Yeah, as for this, I think I will have them do a patrol out here. I'd like them to sink these guys, which would be really handy. I mean, there's like, what, 9 ships there being listed? That'd be great if we could sink those. I mean, those PT boats are pretty nasty. But they're not that nasty we can actually deal with them. And they're really in the best situation. Like, them being outside a natural base, you can deal with them. I think they might have used their torpedoes, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll be able to deal with them with pretty good forces. I could send just destroyers against them, which might be actually the right idea in fairness. Let's see, what do we have? Yeah, it might actually be just wise to send destroyers. They do have that maneuverability, which is a good thing. So we'll have the actual heavy cruisers remain in port for the time being. So we'll do that. I'm going to take the actual destroyers. And we'll have them operate like that. And this is it, isn't it? They do have firepower, plenty enough to take on PTs. I mean, most things have firepower to take on PTs, but they have that maneuver, which is actually very nice. And the beauty is we're not putting heavy cruisers out there where they might actually get, well, you know, sunk by aircraft. So I'll have them patrol out there, and have them return. If I can sink them, we're quite happy. Plus, it's easier to rearm destroyers than it is a heavy cruiser. They've still got 12.7 centimeter guns, some of them. Yeah, 12's there. But they're not as hard to rearm, so it's not too bad. Have them set to home base here at Benjamason. There we go. I do need to get some aviation shifted over there. I do have some aviation moving in over this way. I'm contemplating moving the aviation unit from Manado, but not quite yet. I do want to have Manado as a base, because I could actually move the Dinas over here and actually gives an idea what's in the cell of a sea. We'll have to see about that. What I've gone ahead and done is taken the Dinas that are over here and moved them to Megasars. We actually do have the Dinas over here. We're in Naval Search, which is handy. It just keeps us in the know in the area. They're good at what they do as well. Frees up the actual naval bombers too. What I'm doing over here at Palembang is I'm taking the Sallies and the actual Oscars. They're going to be going ahead and bombing Singapore. We're going to be hitting the airfield this time. Same as from Kuantan as well, be hitting the actual airfield there. I am tempted to use the G3s, but then again it's probably better just to have them available as a naval attack. He doesn't seem to have, as far as I can tell, any fighters in this area. I mean, I could have them shifted elsewhere. I think I'll have them in, well, let's see. It might even be wise just to have them stood down, perhaps. It's not often that we get an opportunity to rest. Maybe it is worthwhile standing down. Maybe even just doing a little bit of training is not a bad idea. Let's see. This is it. Sometimes you can have too many assets in one area and it becomes something of a liability. I could potentially have them moved out and made available around the Philippines perhaps, but we'll have to see about that. I think what I'll do then is maintain them as they are. And then I might as well just have them on naval search. I probably meant to have them on naval search to begin with, to be honest. Well, there we go. What I'm doing over here at Mersing. The base force, the aviation unit and the shipping engineer unit are going to move down to Johor Bahru. And the 21st Independent is going to move over here. What I'll be likely doing as well is having them either move to Johor Bahru, or maybe moving them north if I actually do take Singapore in that time. But it's probably going to be 2 days, it's going to be at least 2 days before we attack. We're going to wait 2 days of rest, have 2 days of rest time, and then we'll attack. So we'll be attacking on January 5th, which is a delay, longer than I expected, but it gives us the opportunity to rest these forces here. The main reason for that 2-day delay is I'm going to move the actual headquarters across to Singapore as well. But additional support will be very handy. Plus what we'll do then is have 2 days of actually hitting the airfield. And this is it, we should have continued hitting the airfield. I thought we might have been able to take it sooner, but it seems not. So we should have kept on hitting the airfield. It's an odd one really, I did think we might have been able to take it sooner than this. But things we just didn't get that shock attack with the actual headquarters back in at the start. And I think that didn't help us. It's like we didn't do as much damage as we could have done. Had that gone really well, the headquarters support, we might have been able to take it on the first attack, which would have been obviously excellent. But unfortunately that did not come to pass. These assets are going to be moving down here to Johor. So there we go. Then what we'll do is we'll reform that Naval Guard unit. We'll have 3 Naval Guard units, which is going to be more than enough Tarakan. But it's a difficult one there due to the actual coastal guns, as we know. We'll manage it. What I'm doing then is moving all of these low value AKs. They can be pretty much kind of afforded for the most part. There's not terribly much I can do about that. Okay, you're moving over that way. Okay. Righto. Yep, these are moving, which is good news. Have ACMs, we have our submarines moving down to this area as well. I do need to get some fuel moving to Kopang, which is not too far out now. I can have these forces actually move up. And there we go, they can move to Lautum. Get them move in there. And then there's really not going to be much in the way of actual resistance in the area. I'll have them temporarily disband here. I could have them moved, in fairness, but I'm going to think over what I want to actually get moving around the area. This area is not too bad now. There's not as many submarines in this area now as there used to be, which is nice. We're going to be continuing with a naval attack out this way. I'm going to be using the actual G3s over here. The A6M2s are going to be sweeping Surabaya. The G3s are going to be bombing Surabaya's airfield. I'm going to have the AA-43. Though, in fact, I might have both. This one's got about 31 fatigue. But I could probably... No, I think one will be fine. Should be alright. I could potentially sweep first. I'll increase that to 80% rest there. And then at least we don't lose many bombers if it doesn't go as well as we would hope so. Okay, so over this way. I'm not quite done with the turn yet, as you guys can tell. Still making a few decisions. I just wanted to give you guys a pretty much the majority of what's going on and what will be happening. So what I'm going to be doing is taking the Erkkijuusto 2 destroyers. I've transferred off of Erkkijuusto the A6M2s. They've gone to Raval. What I'm going to be doing is moving it to a point where it's more or less equidistant with Raval and Truck. And then what I'm going to do is transfer the A5M4s, but I can resize them aboard the carriers as well, which is going to be quite handy. It would be helpful to do that in port, but if I can transfer them, that's still going to be useful enough. We might be able to resize them while they are aboard. So if I take a look over here, you can see that these guys, they have a range of 12 here with the drop tanks. So their maximum transfer range is 14. So obviously I could transfer to Cargo over there. But as you guys can see, Raval is 17 hexes away. Kavyang is 14, but there's not really much aviation support there. I want to do it in one. It would be ideal in one, but I can't do that. So what I'm going to do then is take a Erkkijuusto. She's going to move around this point, and then I'm going to transfer the actual fighters, the 85M4s, across to Erkkijuusto, and then be turned after from Erkkijuusto to Raval after they've been resized, ideally. So it's a twofer. We'll get a 2-for-1 there. What I will then do is have Erkkijuusto and Cargo operate as a pair for Wake Island, really. I've got all these submarines over here. All of these submarines are going to be used to patrol this area. What I'm going to do then is actually have the invasion force move towards the Neotalk. The reason being, it's a size 3 port, so they'll unload very quickly, because they do have disruption. Let's see. Not so much on those guys, but yeah, there you go. 25, 34, 30 odd, 24. So there's a fair amount of disruption. So what I want to do then is move them to a Neotalk, give them a little bit of rest. I've moved H6K4s over here to Neotalk. We're going to have some actual aviation support moving in, as we do have a base force. We will have plenty of supply as well. But yeah, I'm going to be running reconnaissance with the H6K4s over here of Wake Island. We just need to get an idea of what we're dealing with, really. Another thing as well is I want to get the AKEs moving down to this area. They're not far away now. Really, really not far away. As you can see, some AKEs over here. And there will be more around as well. Yeah, you can see there's a couple AKEs moving towards this area, which is good news. So we will have them available. It's just going to take some time. I might have them move initially to Saipan, considering there's 30k supply at Saipan. And it's a large port. I might as well get them loaded before they move to that area. But essentially what we want to do here then is get an idea of what the situation looks like. I may even use the battleships and just bombard the island beforehand, maybe once or twice, maybe a couple times depending. The difficulty is he is going to be looking to defend Wake. I don't know if he's moving forces in or out. Having DMSs over here is really intriguing. It looks like he is concerned with Wake. You don't send DMSs unless they're either acting as an escort, but even then a DMS is, I don't know, it's obviously a minesweeper. He may have suspected what we were up to. He's probably cleared the mines, unfortunately, but that may indicate that he's actually going to be staying here. He did move a tanker, supposedly, but that could have been a 8K as well. So he's either reinforcing Wake, he's either resupplying Wake, or he's either withdrawing from Wake, but I don't think he'll withdraw from Wake. It's an interesting one. I think it's going to make it a difficult fight, so I think what we need to do is we need to take a more measured approach to this. The question is going to be, depending on what we see here, it's going to dictate how we actually react to this. That's going to be the big one there. But I think it's right that we have the KB remain in this area, at least a good chunk of it. We're going to have the 4 carriers over here with the escort and heavy cruisers. I'm going to decide a little bit later on as to where I'm going to have them move. I do not want to have them within actual naval search range. The difficulty is, if I have the carriers just on the other side, then we do run a big risk of being attacked from potentially within the Coral Sea. This does act as a barrier, which is great and all, but there's still a risk, as we saw with the light cruiser over here doing the midnight run. So what I'm going to do then is have all these submarines move into this area. What I'm also going to do is actually have the light cruiser Nagara, and the light cruiser Kitakami, and 2 destroyers over here. Obviously destroyers with the other light cruiser there. They're going to be operating as surface combatant forces at Tulagi. Kitagabi is really good for that because she has a huge amount of torpedoes. So if anything gets into like surface action with her, they're probably going to be in a great deal of danger. Because if those torpedoes hit in any number, they're going to wipe out whatever's there. So she can really punch far above her weight. Another important thing is what I've done here is we did have a Jacob of the AV. What I've done is actually transferred her to the base. She can only run one, but I've given her a reserve. So they will both be active tomorrow. They're going to go ahead and run a little bit of night naval search. It's not much. It doesn't make much of a difference, but it's still handy. The H6K4s, I still need to run daytime search because we need that information. What I'm going to be doing over here, as you can see, I do have the Akagi. I'm going to be running long-range cap over a task force I'm going to be sending out to Lay. I probably don't need that cap, so what I'm going to do is actually run additional surge. Sorry, additional rest there. Reduce that fatigue. We do have some actual reserves, which is handy. But what I'm doing then is, with the H6K4s over here, is I'm going to be transporting elements of the 52nd Naval Guard to Lay. We're also going to be taking 2 destroyers, the Kari and the Yanagi. We're going to be transporting the Maizuru first, SNF over here. And I'm going to be giving them actual long-range combat patrol cover. I don't think they're going to be... Well, I don't know. I could potentially go 50-50. I think I'll go 50-50 then, just to... Or 40-60 is probably still very sufficient. More than sufficient, really. I do have the 2 A5M4s over here. They're running cap over Lay. So what I'll do then is obviously... I can have them run as a long-range cap as well, when that task force is nearer. Let's give them a little bit more rest. We do see his forces over here. There's really hardly any assault value in those forces, but we don't want to take any risks. So what we're doing then is we're going to stop building the airfield for the time being and actually build up some fortifications. Now, Lay is ×3 fortifications, so as soon as we get any aviation, get any assault value in here, and a little bit of fortification, it's probably going to hold out against anything really very large. There's 2 units over here, there's 1 unit over here. Now, that could be the unit that retreated from Salamoa, or from Lay. I can't recall what happened to them. I don't think they surrendered. But it doesn't have a lot of assault value, but even then it's still a threat and we need to treat it seriously. I do have the 52nd Naval Guard. They are moving towards Lay, but obviously they're going to take some time to march there due to the poor roads. Well, there's no real roads over here. But the good news is, once I can actually get some control of the area here in terms of the actual, in terms of air power, and just really, we've got to consolidate on this area. We've got to really... It's a nasty one, really. Really is a nasty one, because we don't know where the enemy carriers are. So it's a difficult one. We could probably do a lot of things, but the issue is we just don't know where the carriers are as of yet. So we've got to be quite cautious. We've got to be quite smart, effectively. I do have a bunch of actual road construction engineer units over here. That's going to be a lot of engineers moving to Rabaul. So what we're going to build Rabaul up to size 7 airfield in the near future, which is going to be really good. It shouldn't take too long as well with a lot of engineers. Like, if we take a look, these road construction units, in that 16 2 vehicles, yeah. So mostly 16, but then some of them have like a pair of engineer vehicles. So we're going to have, I'd say, over 100 engineers. Maybe 10 or so vehicles, maybe a little bit more than that, which I think represent 4 engineer squads. Well, equivalent, I should say. So we're going to have a lot of engineers over here at Rabaul in the near future, which is going to be very nice. I do currently have 68 and 3 engineer vehicles, so I do have a decent amount, but having more is going to actually speed that up pretty dramatically. Rabaul is going to become a major base. We're just going to have to see really how I can manage things. It's going to be difficult. Submarines are going to have to remain around here, or potentially until I can get mines, but having air cover is also an important aspect to have. As you can see, we do have A5M4s over here that are going to be running escort. It's just the ability to be able to cover ourselves somewhat from the air, and as well from surface assets. It's a difficult one, it really bloody is, but we're going to kind of manage it as best we can, really. That's the difficult part here. So that's kind of the gist of things. I do need to build up the amount of vehicles we produce. We're going to have to increase that in the near future. I think I have started. Yeah, there's a little bit of expansion here. I do need to build, I think, another 100 or so vehicle producing plants. We'll have to double check that. We're going to need them. We're going to need them. I just don't want to use too much supply, but we could probably get quite a few. It's not too hard for us, really. So, yeah, I'm going to take a look at the track trend on that issue later on. I do have these assets over here that have arrived at Paramashiro-jima, which is excellent. So the 2 APs are going to be good. AFC is being unloaded here as well. I do actually have the ability to refuel the CH-24, which is very nice. Excellent news. So you can see that Paramashiro-jima actually has now 28 engineers. We have a little bit of aviation support. Actually, Phase 2 is pretty decent. But yeah, that's going to speed up the actual building efforts over here at Paramashiro-jima. So we'll have a level 1 airfield in the near future, which is going to be excellent news. We do have additional assets moving into Paramashiro-jima as well. Another 2,000 supply, which is going to be handy. Have you home port there. You can also act as escort, which is a handy thing there. 2 patrol craft moving in there to act as proper escorts. I do have some AGs here. Another patrol boat. What we're doing then is a little bit more fuel moving in there as well. What we're going to be doing then is getting ready to move on to one of these islands and essentially set this up as like a naval search island as quickly as possible, really. So I'd like to get some assault value, get some engineers over there, build up however the hell you want to pronounce it, island, and then we'll be able to make use of it. We've seen with Dadman that we need to have as much prior warning as possible. It's really critically important. We just cannot function without that prior warning. That's the difficult part. So to help out as well and to reduce the threat, I do have transports being moved. So you can see we have the Ki-56s, 57s over here. There is also over here I do have some MC-21 Sallies. Moving these guys. These transports are going to be... I'm going to try and incrementally move them, but I'm going to be ultimately aiming to get them towards like Rabal. So the idea will be, we'll have the transports over here, and then what we're going to do is fly the engineers out to these islands over here to help build them up. And then at least we can actually reduce the amount of threat, which is going to be very nice. So yeah, that's kind of the big gist of things. I need to decide where the cars are going to go. But that's kind of the gist of things as I go in. Over here in China, I'm waiting for the main forces to move down here. I do have forces moving up here to the north as well. It's going fairly well. It's going fairly well. What we're going to be doing is starting a proper offensive here in the near future. I'm just building up the amount of forces that I have over here so I can actually just continue to push down on this road here, really. It's pretty static here at the moment, so I can kind of just get myself positioned. And we do have the advantage of having the Kwantong army, which is going to be nice. So yeah, that's kind of like the position of things at this point in time. We haven't seen any success over here in a while, so we might have to rethink how we are patrolling over here. We might just be missing things, or he might not just be sending them. We'll have to see. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how we are looking at this moment in time. Gotta hope for the best. So, I'm also running reconnaissance, as I said, over here. So you can see that there are still 2 units over here to Port Moss, which is good. I'm taking the battleships and the AKE. So, they're going to move into the Bardwab to refuel. Well... Additional battleship support would be nice. I'm still umming and ahhing about that. I think what I'll do then is have them move into Bardwab to refuel. Fill Casino up, and then we can make a proper decision. I'm of 2 minds as to whether they're still going to be required out here in the Dutch East Indies, or whether I should have them made available for the New Guinea campaign, or potentially even for Wake. Wake will have 3 battleships, but another 3 battleships could be potentially needed. It's going to be relying upon reconnaissance over here, really. But we'll have to see. So, that's kind of like the gist of things for the time being, really. Oh, over here in Luzon, I'm moving additional forces. I'm going to have a special base force actually head over here to Vigan instead. So then I can have the actual engineers transferred, but I'll have a base force transferred down here and that engineer unit transferred there. I need to get these airframes moving south, really. But I need to have the aviation support. I'd accidentally moved the aviation support, and that didn't go too well. So I'm going to have to obviously take that into consideration. It's looking good. I'm not going to be attacking at Clark. I'm going to be continuing to bombard at Clark. I do have additional engineers moving into Clark tomorrow, which is good. The headquarters will be in Clark tomorrow as well, so we'll have a headquarters in position, sorry. I do have the 5th Fleet Command in position here as well. So we should benefit quite nicely. We should have a lot going for us, and the next attack should be a lot better due to the amount of headquarters support. Also, having more engineers is going to be quite nice. Having that additional support as well is going to be handy from the actual headquarters being inside the Hexaclark too. So there we go. Thank you so very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to seeing how the next turn looks. I'll probably get the turn sent off either tonight, pretty much likely tonight. Until next time, thank you for watching, goodbye, and Tena Heka Banzai. See you next time. Apologies for like the semi-erratic nature of the commentary. It's mostly because I'm still deciding on things at this moment in time, so I'm still a bit like, Oh, another thing before I do go. The Ki-21 Sallies over here at Bangkok. I'm going to have all 3 squadrons run 50% attack over here at Rangoon. He doesn't seem to have moved in much, and I think what we need to do is try and take advantage of this while he hasn't done that, and just try and get some decent damage there before I do go ahead and actually start resting things, because we do need some rest. But I want to actually increase that damage. If he's not going to defend it, then okay. He might have underestimated the threat that we actually are presenting to Rangoon, so we'll try and use that to our advantage. I do worry where the H81s are, but we'll have to see about that. But there we go. Until next time, thank you for watching, and see you in the future. Goodbye for now.